All right, we're live. Welcome in. I'm the real underscore G Warner going through the major top five European soccer leagues. Easy for me to say for this weekend. It's been a long international break. I feel like they feel even longer each time. But thankfully, we're getting closer to a World Cup and doing all that sort of stuff. I feel like I've been on a good run lately, so going to try to keep that going. Going to do the top five European leagues and then a little bit of AFCON at the end. So without further ado, I'll start in England. We only have one Premier League match this weekend, and that is going to come up later in the show because we have FA Cup starting today. We have Manchester United hosting Middlesbrough. Currently, a 1 3/4 underdog on the road is Middlesbrough. Not sure that Manchester United is someone that I'm really scared of or believe in, but they are pretty deep, have a lot of talent. They've sold a lot of that, and a lot has moved on since this during the international window in the transfer market. But I'm looking to bet against Manchester United when they're playing teams that are more on their level. Moving to Saturday, we have Chelsea hosting Plymouth, giving 3 goals. Not a lot more to say there. Kidderminster, first time I've heard of them, getting 2 from West Ham. Just going to be a lot of these bigger clubs that are laying huge prices. I do think that the cup lines are a lot of times shorter than probably they should be. And I definitely have started to reduce the lines that I'm guessing to kind of match what kind of that a tighter cup lifestyle that's being played. But some of these big clubs against teams I've never heard of is not a great sign. Huddersfield hosting Barnsley. I think Huddersfield are in the running for a promotion to to the Premier League. Champions League would be hilarious. They're hosting Barnsley, giving 3/4 of a goal. I think Barnsley a little a level below, but not sure. But that they have had some recent success in the last few seasons in the cups. I know played Chelsea pretty deep into competition last year, I believe. Peterborough then hosting QPR, getting 1/4 of a goal at home with all the juice. It looks like that's going to climb to a half. Can't say I've heard of Peterborough before. Southampton giving a full goal right now to Coventry, who recent promotion to the championship. Probably didn't expect me to have much knowledge on Coventry, but a friend of mine that's his squad. So we've talked about them a little bit. Hanging mid-table, trying to stabilize within championship while they get a new stadium is pretty important. Southampton on the other side, giving a full goal right now and looking like that's going to trend to 1 1/4. Don't really believe in the Southampton offense, but it might be one of those situations where a mid-tier championship side is probably not on the same level as a mid-tier Premier League side. And once that first goal goes in a cup tie, Coventry will be throwing everything forward to try to get an equalizer. And that means the second goal is going to be much easier than that first one. Everton then hosting Brentford is a matchup of Premier League sides, which are generally the cup ties that I want to look at. Everton, a 1/4 goal favorite with all the juice right now. I don't know where that comes from. I know Brentford certainly have had their issues. And the signing of Christian Eriksen, I'm not sure what role he's going to play, but if he's a late substitute for free kicks, is a really good potential opportunity for them. And after an international break where the European sides didn't really play much, I think there's a good chance that Brentford have a pretty strong lineup here, where Everton have a bigger side with better names that might have gone like Richarlison to Brazil to play in World Cup qualifiers. I'm not sure if he ended up making the trip, probably as part of the deal. Maybe he wouldn't after playing the Olympics and the Copa America this summer. But regardless, Everton, they did some signings, did some business, brought in Dele Alli and brought in Van de Beek from Manchester United. And I don't know that you can expect either of them to do anything, but if that means that we're going to get bigger numbers to fade Everton, great, because I don't know that Frank Lampard, who seems to be okay as a manager, maybe not a Chelsea level manager, but seems to at least have some capability. I just don't know that Everton has the roster for him to make a difference. So definitely leading Brentford on Saturday. Stoke then hosting Wigan. Stoke a 1/2 goal favorite at home. Manchester City a 2.5 goal favorite to recently relegated Fulham. But Man City thrashes even Premier League sides like Burnley in this competition. So not sure that that's one I want to step in the way from or way of, though Fulham were fairly competitive last year. unfortunately had to get rid of some important players, and the odds are back. In case you've been listening, Wolves then hosting Norwich. Currently, Wolves a 3/4 of a goal favorite at home, and with all the juice, so that might climb to one. I think at +1, I'm interested in Norwich because the Wolves offense is not really that great. Raul Jimenez was playing in Mexico on Thursday night, so I'm not sure if he'll be in the side for this one. Probably won't be. And Norwich, they've done some business trying to add some players, I guess. I don't know. There's certainly a discrepancy between the two, and Wolves are a team that I like to back as an underdog. But as a big favorite, potentially as a full goal, I think I'll be interested in the road team. Crystal Palace and hosting Hartlepool United, 2.25 goal favorites. Cambridge hosting Luton Town as a half a goal underdog at home. I think Luton Town is a bigger club, but I don't know. Tottenham half a goal favorite to Brighton is of interest to me to look at Brighton. I don't really know what Tottenham was doing. Conte, I mean, who am I to question Antonio Conte? But the signings that they made from Italy don't seem to be that impressive to me. Kulusevski, who I think is going to be really good, but really hasn't played for an entire season at Juve, so that's not a great sign. And Brighton defensively, I think are just sold Dan Burn, but he was like the fourth choice. So assuming they're still healthy enough at center back or in the back line, getting half a goal with who knows what's going on with Heung-min Son. Harry Kane's certainly always scary, but Brighton have shown that they can try to control possession and really give the bigger clubs in the top 6 or whatever in the Premier League some trouble winning matches. So in a cup tie, I'm especially interested. And then moving to Sunday, Liverpool hosting Cardiff, currently 2.25 goal favorites. Even without Salah and Mane, who we'll be talking about an AFCON final. I don't know. Cardiff, I'm not sure if they're going to be within striking distance. Not Forest, Nottingham Forest, however I'm supposed to say it. Notts Forest, half a goal underdog at home to Leicester. Would love to be against Leicester. I just don't know that I know enough. Clearly, I can't even pronounce the name from the home team, but the Forest would certainly be worth a look considering how poorly Leicester have done this season. Bournemouth then hosting Boreham in the last FA Cup match of the weekend. Bournemouth a 1.5 goal favorite, and they were getting some good pub for how they've done in the transfer window. So good for them on that. I think I don't know if they're a goal and a half better than whoever the heck they're playing. Whatever. Moving to Saturday, we have Burnley hosting Watford and probably one of the million rescheduled matches. Burnley, they're really going to be in a tough situation. They have so many matches to make up. They have a very thin roster. They got Wout Weghorst who wasn't really playing much for Wolfsburg, though he did start the last match before the international break. And that's probably a good move for him, though I don't know that he's exactly the Chris Wood type because he's very tall, but I don't think he's really a header of the ball really as much. But he is a good goal scorer, so that's important to them. As a quarter goal favorite at home, I'm looking at Watford. They sacked Ranieri because they love sacking their managers and having interim and caretakers and all that sort of stuff. The Watford defense is really, really concerning though. And some of their players were at AFCON. I think Dennis is suspended after his ridiculous second yellow. Killing FPL teams like mine left and right, especially as my captain getting a negative was real fun. But Burnley as a favorite just doesn't really seem to be a role that really suits them. So I'm going to be looking at Watford, probably hoping I stay far away from it, but we'll see what lineups look like on Saturday afternoon. Moving to Spain, Getafe hosting Levante currently today on a Friday match. Levante getting half of a goal with all the juice seems to be of interest to me, at least when I was looking at all these sort of things. They're bottom club in La Liga have been struggling. I think have been really bad defensively, which is a tough thing to deal with. Because you can't really cover for a bad defense, though I think that their talent is still decent, and I think that the bad run really is kind of what sent them in the wrong direction. Getafe have not been scoring goals, but they've been really good under their new manager of just not allowing any. So goalless seems to be a really good possibility. I don't know that I want to play Levante's defense to keep a clean sheet, though, so that's a problem. So ultimately, I think I got to figure out if Levante are going to score today, which, it's one of those, if gun to my head, I'm playing Levante. Probably is not the worst bet in the world to take a half because you win a full bet on a draw. And the juice currently looks like this might be trending down to a quarter, but currently at the half. I'm interested in Levante, and we'll see what lineups look like. Moving to Saturday with Elche hosting Alaves. Currently, Elche a quarter goal favorite at home, and they've been playing really well. Really challenged Real Madrid in back-to-back matches. Deserved a lot better in extra time in a cup tie, and we're 2 up. And thanks to a missed Karim Benzema penalty, but ultimately should have won that match probably against Real Madrid, giving up a late equalizer. Alaves came in, defended really hard in their home pitch, home turf, home patch against Barcelona, but gave up a late goal and didn't really have much to speak of offensively. I think that's their problem. And Jose Luis Mendilibar, who just came in as like a third manager of the season, I think, for Alaves, he wants to play a high line, and that's going to be aggressive, and that's going to maybe be good to grab points against the weaker clubs. And Elche certainly were one of those from Spain expected entering the season. But I'm not sure what to really believe about this one. And currently at a quarter, that might, with all the juice on Alaves as well, that might be a little bit too low for me considering the way Elche have been playing. If this climbs to a half, I think I'll be looking at Alaves, but ultimately not rushing to get involved with them because I think they're going to put their defense under pressure against the weaker clubs. Or against everybody. And Elche do look like with Tete Morente that they have the ability to take advantage of that. Mallorca then hosts Cardiff, currently a half a goal favorite at home. Mallorca with all the juice. So it looks like that's going to climb to 3/4. Cadiz played midweek, pretty rotated side in the Copa del Rey and their exit at Valencia. And Cadiz and their new manager, Sergio Gonzalez, has really shored up a defense that was leaking a little bit under Alvaro Savera. And ultimately, their offense is not great, but neither is Mallorca's. And Mallorca are giving way too much of a price here, especially if this climbs to 3/4. There's going to be very little possibility that I avoid it unless Cadiz have had some huge COVID outbreak, but I haven't really heard about that for a while. And playing midweek, not great. Mallorca also had to play midweek, though, same day, same situation where took a ridiculous penalty. What a stupid dive by or tackle attempt by Russo, one of their like trustworthy center backs. They went with a really strong lineup. Cadiz didn't. So we'll see what's available in lineups on Saturday, but ultimately Cadiz tomorrow are very a big interest of mine and probably will be on the card. Celta de Vigo then hosting Rayo Vallecano, half a goal favorite at home. Rayo, they've been really bad on the road versus how well they've done at home, but that seems to be something that's kind of going by the wayside. And I played into that by betting Mallorca midweek and that ridiculous penalty given away concession by Mallorca gave Rayo the goal, the penalty kick, and they didn't really do anything the rest of the match or really nothing to speak of. Celta, if Iago Aspas is in that lineup, then they have goal threats. They already have others as well. And I think they're a better team. So I'm not really interested in Rayo, and I feel like they're getting a little more respect than they deserve. Osasuna then hosting Sevilla. Currently, Osasuna quarter goal underdog at home. Sevilla road favorite of 1/4. Sevilla did some business during the transfer window, brought in Anthony Martial, and they've been really kind of limited based on depth problems due to injuries. So we'll see what happens. They lost a lot of players to AFCON and all this sort of things, but Osasuna's goal scoring has been really non-existent for a long time now. Got off to a good start to begin the season, and that probably secured their staying in the league, but definitely trending downward since then. And Sevilla are a much better club, so I just don't know at a quarter, even at home, that's enough for me to want to step in. Valencia then hosting Real Sociedad on Sunday. Pick 'em right now with most of the juice on Real Sociedad on the road. Sociedad with a pretty embarrassing performance against Betis in the Copa del Rey, crashing out at home, a 4-0 loss, which wasn't that bad, but ultimately kept snowballing. Not really sure what to do here. If Sociedad moved to a quarter goal favorite, is that where it looks to go? I just don't know that Valencia is someone I want to back because they have a lot of problems, give up a lot of goals, and Sociedad are better. Barcelona then hosting Atletico Madrid in a big one Sunday morning. Atleti a quarter goal underdog on the road. And that's who I'm interested in. They've had plenty of flaws. Defense hasn't been as good this year. Offense hasn't really done much. Suarez playing for Uruguay. Wonder if he's available, and they really kind of need him to score goals. Thing is, Barcelona's done a ton of transfer business, bringing in players that really aren't good enough to play for them, in my estimation, or basically on the status of Barcelona as a club. Maybe good enough to play for this version that has all kids playing, and the kids are good, but as a quarter goal favorite at home, I don't know that the crowd is really going to be into it enough to support them. Might be more jeers and whistles than you'd expect from a home club. And Atleti have looked decent in these type of big matchups throughout the league. I think their struggles have been against the weaker sides. And so as a quarter goal underdog, Simeone is going to play defensive and going to make it really hard on Barcelona. And I don't believe that Barcelona can really break the levies. Betis then hosting Villarreal, coming off that big Copa del Rey victory at Sociedad. Now have pretty quick turnaround from a playing their studs in that matchup yesterday on Thursday, and now have to play Sunday. Villarreal were playing better heading into the international break. I think are a team that I want to back because they've looked stronger, and especially when they get healthier, because they were missing a lot of players like Gerard Moreno, who's their heart and soul offensively. They did fill in a little bit with Danjuma, who's able to score goals in his absence, and so that attack is looking better and better. Betis is a quarter goal favorite at home. Seems a little bit short to me, but probably based on legs is reasonable. All the juice on Villarreal right now. Maybe this falls to pick 'em. I doubt it. I think it closes Villarreal a quarter goal underdog on the road, and that's something I'll look at a little bit more closely as we get closer to kickoff. Real Madrid then hosting Granada, currently 1 3 quarter goal favorites. Had to go to San Mamés, just played and lost Copa del Rey, crashed out to Athletic Club in a tight match that could have gone either way, but Real Madrid will ultimately second best in that matchup. And I think the result was deserved. Missing Benzema, their offense is a shell of itself. Vinny Jr. coming off of a flight from Brazil didn't really offer a lot. We'll see what happens with a couple of days under his belt and on the European continent. But ultimately, Granada, they've had trouble for sure entering into the international break, but they have some older frontline players that have been able to score. I believe in them, though certainly have some concern about the wear and tear on their bodies throughout the season. But getting 1 3 quarter goals is, I think, far too high if Benzema's not playing, who seemed like he was iffy for Paris Saint-Germain in like the next week or two. So I'm not sure that he's available for this one. And that really changes Real Madrid, especially when they have to win by 2 goals to take half a unit for me, 3 to win even more than that. So looking at Granada for sure, though a little bit worried when that news comes out, if Granada falls to 1.5. And last but not least, Monday, we have Athletic Club hosting Espanol, coming off that big Copa del Rey victory. Athletic Club, a 3 quarter goal favorite at home, all the juice. So that likely is climbing to 1. And that makes me interested in Espanol because I think Athletic Club are the perfect, want to counterattack and use their speed. But when they're a big favorite, especially a full goal favorite, that doesn't really fit into their style of play, their roster, and kind of who they want to be. Espanol certainly have had plenty of problems lately, though, and that's probably why this number is trending towards 1. But definitely fresher legs, considering Athletic Club just had that emotional victory against Real Madrid in the Copa del Rey. So that wraps up Spain. I will now move to Italy, which I don't think starts until Saturday. Yes, we have Roma hosting Genoa. Currently, Genoa, a 1.5 goal underdog. Genoa have been firing managers left and right, not for because they're playing well, that's for sure. Roma have been scoring a ton of goals, and credit them and what Mourinho's done, kind of reinventing himself, maybe on a lower level in the Premier League, but ultimately I don't think it's that different. And I guess lean Genoa at 1.5, but not really that interested or keen to go against Roma, who can score goals. Inter then hosting AC Milan, or I guess playing their shared stadium. Inter a half a goal favorite with all the juice, so climbing likely to 3/4 of a goal. First time they played, I think AC Milan were playing a little bit better, but this was only a quarter goal spread with AC Milan as the in name only home team. I'm interested in AC Milan. I think Inter are really strong, really deep, but we'll see what the international window has done for trying to get AC Milan's lineup as healthy as possible, with Kessié coming back from AFCON. Hopefully he plays this one as he's important. Fiorentina then hosting Lazio, currently a quarter goal favorite, which is surprising to me. I would expected Lazio to be the more likely favorite here if there was one, but probably was going to land Pick'em. All the juices on Lazio getting a quarter on the road, but that's who I'm interested in. They can score goals. Fiorentina just sold Dusan Vlahovic, and not really sure that I trust them to score with Nico Gonzalez kind of in and out of the team. I wonder if there's some culture or issues that he's having with managers at multiple clubs, but just came back from Argentina, and I don't really see why Fiorentina is favored. Moving to Sunday, Atalanta hosting Cagliari, currently giving a goal in 3/4. Cagliari have been playing better, but this is not a team you want to play. Atalanta have not really had their full lineup though, and we'll see what happens with kind of what they look like with Zapata being injured for a while. I'm not sure that Muriel went on international duty to Colombia with him because neither of them, I don't think, were on the pitch for Colombia. So we'll see what that lineup looks like. But Atalanta have been running on fumes. Bologna hosting Empoli, giving half of a goal. Empoli's offense has been pretty good. All the juices on Empoli, so maybe this falls to a quarter, but still as an underdog, I'm interested because their defense has had some problems, but I'm not sure that Bologna are good enough to take advantage of that. Besides, Arnautovic doesn't have a lot of help. Besides the one-off like miraculous goal. Sampdoria then a quarter goal underdog at home, catching that from Sassuolo, who have played a lot better than where they sit in the table, and the results have certainly not reflected how they've been playing. But that's also something more than halfway through the season you have to take note of, and that makes me interested in Sampdoria. Though I don't love their age, their ability to score, the problems that they have, the mistakes they make, all that sort of stuff. But home dog for a team that's not playing well or getting results seems a little bit of interest to me. Venezia then hosting Napoli, getting 1.25 goals. Napoli have dealt with a ton of injuries and are trying to get healthier every day that goes by. Maybe they get closer to that, but the health, as soon as they get players back in the lineup, that doesn't exactly mean that they're going to play well. Chucky Lozano, I think, got hurt for Mexico in the international window. He isn't really a top choice player for them, but has been of late, or would be, based on what they've been dealing with injuries. So Venezia been a pretty good moneymaker, played pretty competitively against the bigger clubs. Napoli certainly are a team that can run roughshod and pile up goals, but with their lineup, what it was looking like, it didn't seem like that was going to be a real possibility. So getting more than a goal seems too much to me. So I'm interested in Venezia. Udinese then hosting Torino, currently a quarter goal underdog at home. Was hoping that this line would be wrong, but that's pretty fair based on how Udinese, a defensive side that hasn't defended and can't really score a ton of goals. Torino have not really gotten what they deserve based on controlling the ball, but I think that's because they lack a scoring option, and Bellotti hasn't really played for them. But ultimately, I think Torino, from where I sit, would be who I wanted to back as an underdog. I guess so. I'm interested in Udinese based on Torino being a road favorite that I'm not sure they deserve. Juve then hosting Verona off that big Vlahovic signing and all the good business they've done, bringing Zakaria from Gladbach. But Verona getting a full goal right now on the road is of interest to me because they can score. We know that. Juve, not sure that they can. I guess the pendulum swings because Juve's defense is a lot better than Verona's, which certainly is fairly likely to concede here. But I think Verona can score, so getting one is a lot to me, and might even end on that push, which is nerve-wracking for the last few minutes, but is a nice measure of safety to have backing a good offense. Salernitana then hosting Spezia on Monday. Salernitana a quarter goal underdog at home, and they should be. They're the worst team in Serie A. And Spezia, this is a match they need to win. So we'll see. They're going to play on the front foot as they always do, so that shouldn't surprise anybody. But ultimately, that's one of those where the home dog doesn't seem that interesting to me because Salernitana are so much worse than everybody else. Moving to the Bundesliga, we got a match today. Hertha Berlin hosting Bochum, currently a quarter goal favorite. Hertha Berlin, based on what, I'm not sure. They're not a good offense, not a good defense. Spend a ton of money, never seems to turn into anything good. Bochum have been on my card every time they play, I feel like, and we know they're going to get a good defensive effort. You're not missing out on their crowd not being in place. Hertha probably won't have much in the big Olympic Stadium in Berlin anyway. So Bochum as a quarter goal underdog will probably be on my card today. Arminia Bielefeld then hosting Borussia Mönchengladbach, who are in a disaster, catastrophe, downward spiral. Sporting director saying that his job is too taxing, all that sort of stuff. So scary, especially as a road favorite. Arminia Bielefeld getting a quarter at home aren't very impressive, don't have much offense to speak of. Probably going to be playing for a draw, but that wins you half a bet, and I think it's silly that they're a home underdog. Augsburg then hosting Union Berlin, currently a pick'em with most of the juice on Union on the road. Makes sense. Not a lot for me to do here. I don't even know if Augsburg moved to a quarter goal underdog if I want them, because Union are the moneymaker team as an underdog. I almost bet them every time, I feel like, and Augsburg have a lot of problems, and Signing Pepe hasn't done much, especially when he's playing on international duty in 1-degree weather in Minnesota on Wednesday night. Cologne then hosting Freiburg, a quarter goal favorite. All the juice on Freiburg, so maybe it's false to pick them, but I'm not sure that Cologne's offense of on the front foot the whole time, crosses in the box, is really that sustainable as a favorite ultimately. Freiburg have got off to a great start to the season, had a little bit of a struggle into the Christmas break and then a little bit coming out of it, but I think are still a team that I want to back as an underdog because they have offense that is, I think, a little bit more repeatable, and ultimately their defense is why they've been so good. So as a quarter goal underdog on the road, I'm interested in probably this very reduced crowd still in Germany. Mainz then hosting Hoffenheim. Pick them right now. Not a lot for me to do there. Hoffenheim with their road struggles. Mainz not really being a great favorite. So move on. Stuttgart hosting Frankfurt. Pick them with most of the juice on Frankfurt on the road. Seems like a really short line, and I'd love for Frankfurt to be an underdog. I don't think that's going to happen, but at pick them, it's too short. So I'll be looking at potentially backing them in a push on a draw. Because Stuttgart, they've been getting healthier. Collage just came back, but they have no one to really create offense, and their defense has problems, I think. Next is Bayern Munchen hosting RB Leipzig. Currently, Bayern a 1.25 goal favorite with all the juice right now, maybe climbing to 1.5. Makes me interested in Leipzig. I don't really want to fade Bayern, especially because they can score a million goals, and Leipzig, who knows what's going on with their lineups. But ultimately, Leipzig, I think, are playing a little bit better in Tedesco. They are a reasonable challenger to Bayern. Maybe are not on the same level, certainly aren't, but I think they've shown that they can score a little bit more than they had because they had big troubles with that under Jesse Marsch to start the season. I'm not sure Tedesco has changed too much, but getting more than a goal, Leipzig seems to be a number that would have been a big surprise last season, to put it that way. Dortmund then hosting Leverkusen, giving half of a goal. Interested in Leverkusen based on their ability to score and Dortmund's defensive problems, but ultimately Leverkusen have similar problems as well. Over under at 3.5 makes me feel like it's a big number, especially in soccer and the Bundesliga. But this might be one of those high scoring affairs that has a ton of goals in it. And that interests me if the lineups are full to potentially play another over on Dortmund, because I'm 1-0 on them so far this season. And then last but not least, Wolfsburg hosting Greater Fourth, currently fourth, a 1-goal underdog on the road to Wolfsburg. And Greater Fourth are not a team that I really want to back because they've shown that they are not Bundesliga level but they've had some good results lately. Have been playing a lot more competitively. And Wolfsburg, I'm not sure you can trust them to score. They just got rid of Weghorst, who I think would have helped them offensively, but he hasn't been having a good season because the whole team hasn't. And I think Wolfsburg is trying to get younger. I'm not sure if Florian Kohfeldt is still there, but he shouldn't be if he hasn't been fired yet. And this might be the match that does it. But Wolfsburg are in a relegation fight. They're facing a Schweizer League, basically a second league team. But giving a full goal just doesn't make a lot of sense. Doesn't really add up to me whatsoever. Moving to Ligue 1, to France for match today. We have Marseille hosting Angers, currently giving a full goal. That's a big number. Angers certainly lost some of their attacking players to AFCON. We'll see if they're in the lineup today. But Marseille had to play midweek. Haven't been that impressive to me. Offense has been pretty quiet. Not starting Milik and just bringing him on as an 80-minute sub doesn't seem to make a lot of sense because they need his center forward ability, and he seems to score goals. But if he's not in the lineup today, Angers +1, it'll be close to making my card, if not on it. Moving to Saturday, Saint Etienne hosting Montpellier. Pick'em, not much for me to say, but would like Montpellier if they became a dog. Don't see that happening. Monaco, a half a goal favorite to Lyon. Lyon doing some business, selling some players, but they always have their restocking or basically selling players that they would be nice to have. Guimaraes certainly is going to be a big miss in the center defensive midfield. But getting half of a goal from Monaco, who really struggled to score, got rid of Kovac for politics, it seemed to me, though they certainly have been playing the level that a lot of the team expected them to be. But that's a result of bringing in transfers that didn't really pan out. I don't know that's Kovac's fault, though. I guess it might be, though. I think there's a lot of heads being butted in the manager office versus sporting director, and that's why he was let go. But Lyon getting half of a goal, they can score goals. Monaco, I'm not sure that they can. And Lyon's defense has been, I think, better lately. So did play midweek against Marseille, and that'll zap the legs a little bit. But getting half still seems of interest to me. Moving to Sunday, Lorient hosting Lens. Lorient quarter goal underdog at home. Not interested in them. They have not been competitive this season. Nice hosting Clermont Foot, 1 goal favorite at home. Nice are going to keep a clean sheet here, I would suspect. And I'm not sure that Clermont Foot do, nor that they keep them to 1. So not interested. Strasbourg hosting Nantes. Currently, Strasbourg a 3/4 goal favorite. All the juice on Nantes. Maybe this falls to a half. I'm interested in the road underdog here, but Strasbourg have been pretty good in scoring a lot of goals, and I'm not sure that I want to get in that way with a team like Nantes. Reims hosting Bordeaux, giving half of a goal. All the juice on Bordeaux. Big number for Reims to lay, but who they are and what they've done this season, they deserve it. And Bordeaux, based on what they've conceded and how many goals, the shocking numbers, probably makes sense for where it is. If this falls to a quarter, I'm hoping I'll stay away. At a half, it seems a little bit bigger than Reims deserve, but Reims have beaten good clubs, so they can certainly do that to Bordeaux as well. Troyes hosting Metz, a half a goal favorite at home with all the juice on Metz. Seems like way too big of a number to me. Metz certainly don't get a lot of love from the marketplace, but and haven't been a very good team this season and are certainly fighting relegation. This is a big 6-pointer. And I got to think that Metz taking a road point here would be enough, but I don't think it's impossible for them to win here either. Rennes hosting Brest. Currently, Rennes a 1-goal favorite with all the juice at home. Brest I'd like to back here because that's a pretty big number, but Rennes have been in control of a lot of these matches in Liga, and I think are one of the teams that are a little bit under the radar for how well they're playing. And can probably throttle the weaker sides. Brest hasn't really had a really good win every game run for a while. That seems to have subsided. Certainly playing PSG will do that to you. But as this climbs above 1 to 1.25, I mean, it's going to be hard for me to look the other way. I'll only be looking at Brest here, but Rennes certainly are good and strong and have a lot of players that are all contributing. So there's not really one player that you can really key on to try to take them out. And last but not least, Lille hosting PSG. Currently, Lille a half a goal underdog at home. Have been playing a lot better. They've figured out their defense. I think their offense has come in. Jonathan David has been playing so well for Canada and for everything. I think it's one of those situations where PSG, you can't make them a smaller favorite because they'll get bet like crazy. And that's the type of favorite I want to bet against because I don't really think PSG is that strong. You need to have a good defense playing against them and playing the underdogs that are like have no chance, that are plus 1.75 doesn't seem to be working very well. But the teams that are closer to PSG, despite having that huge lead, I think a team like Lille is someone that can frustrate them, and a draw paying a full bet at home is of interest for sure. And so that wraps up the 5 European leagues. I'm going to go through the Cup of Nations just really quickly. Burkina Faso getting half of a goal on the road at Cameroon, though it's a third place matchup, and coming off Cameroon playing yesterday. So they have a full day less of rest, which seems very unfair. I thought they'd both be playing on Sunday, but it doesn't seem to be happening like that right now, especially playing extra time. Only way I would lean is Burkina Faso, but don't really know anyone on their team. So that's gonna be hard for me to argue for. And then last but not least, before we wrap up this episode 75, thanks for joining, is Senegal against Egypt in the Cup of Nations final. Egypt has played a ton of minutes, not great for Liverpool. Senegal got through a lot easier with Burkina Faso and are a quarter goal favorite with all the juice. So this one looks like it might be climbing to a half a goal favorite. And that's going to make me probably play Egypt for like the 4th consecutive match because they've shown that they can defend. They have Mohamed Salah, who's the best player in the world, I think, right now, besides maybe Robert Lewandowski. And Senegal, I think they're a strong team. They have a lot of talent, but it's a big ask for them in Cameroon to win this matchup with all that pressure, haven't done it before. And I think Egypt has shown that they can take this extra time and it might make that a really good situation of 0-0 for like the umpteenth straight time in a row, even coming back from the dead from tying a match from falling behind early a couple of rounds ago. I think, again, not against Courtois, but against one of the other teams. Anyway, interested in Egypt, especially if this climbs to a half. So I think that'll do it for this episode 75. Thanks for everyone coming in. Any questions you got, throw them at @the_real_G Warner on Twitter. Feel free to throw comments on wherever you're viewing this stream. But there's 34 minutes for you, and hopefully we got some winners in there.